Welcome to Once Upon a Real Life with Belle, and this is a podcast about real life, just as it is. Each episode is an honest conversation about the moments that challenge us and sometimes surprise us. No filters, no pretending. Quick thanks to the show's sponsor, ActiveFlex. If you're looking for pain-relieving gel with long-lasting relief for painful muscles and joints, you can use my discount code, BELLE10, for 10% off. Just visit alphasport.com.au. Let's begin today's episode. Today's guest is Ruby Sait, and her story, it matters. Ruby entered foster care at just 9 years old, and over the years she's attended 9 different schools. By 16, she was living in residential care. She dropped out of school and describes that period as a sea of blackness, a time where hope felt distant and the future invisible. When Ruby found the courage to say she wanted to return to school, she was told by her child safety worker that education was not a priority. But Ruby decided it was her priority. Now 24, Ruby holds a Bachelor of Journalism. She's volunteered over 2,000 hours supporting children in care and has become a fierce, articulate advocate for young people navigating the very system that once told her to lower her expectations. Ruby doesn't just share her story. She uses her voice to challenge systems, shift narratives, and remind young people in care that their future is bigger than the boxes placed around them. This is a conversation about resilience, injustice, courage, and what's possible when someone refuses to give up on themselves. Welcome, Ruby.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy to meet you today. You were highly recommended to me by one of my listeners, and I had this message from them saying, you've got to find this girl. She's amazing. She has lived the most extraordinary life, and this is what she does for a living. She shares her journey, shares her story, and you have to meet her. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Actually, there's a funny little thing about that person who recommended me. She's actually one of my resi workers who looked after me when I was in care. So she is honestly one of the most amazing people in my life. She sent me this bear for my graduation. She is one of my favorite people, and I'm so thankful for all the support that she's given me. So yeah, it's really great to be here.
So tell me about your story. Who are you? Where were you born? Let's start with little Ruby.
Yeah, so I was born in a regional rural town in Wangaratta, so regional Victoria. I grew up there and then I moved around the area a bit, moved to Queensland for a little bit as well.
With mum and dad?
With mum and my younger brother. So yeah, that was like a bit of a journey, and then came back to regional Vic, and then moved around a lot when it came to school and everything. But I ended up entering out of home care at the age of 9. First interaction with them was around when I was 6 years old. But yeah, at the age of 9, I went into care for the first time, into foster care, and then kingship care. And it was always a back and forth.
Do you remember back to age 6 and you were in contact with the agency?
Yeah, I remember, I honestly thought up until recently that my first time going into care was at the age of 6. So I now learned it was basically a refer a close type situation, which is really interesting to learn a bit more about my story and about where my journey kind of started in that case. But yeah, it was around the age of 9 that I first entered care, and it was so isolating. It was really hard to kind of navigate that as a young person. It was.
Do you remember your removal?
I don't necessarily remember it. I think in a sense of they've kind of all blurred together in a sense. So that's why I'm currently in the process of getting my files, which is a very long, painful process.
Which it should not be. It should not be.
I'm really in the sense I'm really lucky to actually have a lawyer from youth law helping me get these files. Without her, I don't think I would actually be getting them. But the process is going to take years upon years, and I learned that my files are 5,000 pages long. It's ridiculous.
So it's interesting to hear that, because when we did our foster care training back in 2020, that was a standard part of what we learned, is that when a child turns 18, they get access to their file. It sounded to me like that was normal, but you're saying you need you need the law involved. You need to have support by a lawyer to get these files.
Yeah, like I'm sure, like in a sense, like I could get them by myself, but the process and getting through that like red tape essentially is like I would rather just gain the support of someone who knows all about it. I
Yep.
am like that is not something I want to have to stress about. But yeah, like finding out how long my file is and finding out bits and pieces of what's in it is really interesting. Like it's also really sad because like it's like I'm reading my life and it's like it's what other people have perceived my life to be. It's not what I know my life was.
That's right. And that's perceived from a 10-minute moment in time or a 1 hour moment in time. It's not reality
Yeah.
of Ruby's experience. So when you say it all blurs, you don't remember the day that you had to pack your little bag and leave mum's house?
Yeah, no, I don't remember that. I think it's on in the sense of like my most memorable time of being taken out of the care of my mum was when I was 15 years old. So that was probably my most memorable, obviously in the sense of like I was a lot older. It was the most kind of recent. And yes, one of the things I got when it came to getting my file was actually the placements I've been in, like the dates that I was in which placement. And so seeing the timeline of like the back and forth and what my life was like when I was younger was honestly like really overwhelming in the sense of wow, that's what my life has kind of chalked up to be. And also feeling like does this define who I am as a person? Which I believe 100% it doesn't. But it is quite hard when it comes to living independently and also like living with other people and having that like you've never had those good experiences. And so feeling that fear and that isolation, which is something I'm still struggling with, but I think in the sense of I am proud of myself for how far I've come, especially from that young girl who honestly just felt like they didn't have a life after care and didn't have a life after being a teenager.
Do you remember your first foster carer?
I remember, oh, yeah, I remember one of them, and I honestly didn't have the best experience. It was actually really sad. I just felt so isolated. One thing I learned like when it comes to being in care is that you have to learn a whole different family's way of life, how they do dinner time, how they do like day to day. Like I got in trouble for throwing a banana out. I don't like fruit. It's a sensory thing. That's just who I am. But I got in trouble for throwing a banana out because assuming that I didn't eat it because of the fact that I didn't leave the peel in my lunchbox, which to me just that doesn't seem normal. But to this foster family, that was the normal. So I got in trouble. Like, yes, I threw it out. Like, I will be honest, but like it was like those little things where it just kind of meant that I don't know. I had to act. It was almost like I was an actor and I had to kind of act the way that that family wanted. And I know that there are some amazing foster carers out there and I am like still in contact with some of those amazing people. But for the most part, it just felt like I had to kind of be what worked for that family.
That is a fantastic takeaway. So we're a foster family ourselves, and I give so much grace to the children to allow them to be who they are because I understand that this is a foreign home. And something that I always say to them when I'm giving a meal is you don't have to eat it, but can you accept it and look at it and smell it, maybe taste it? Because I understand that this is not the food that they have been given or are accustomed to.
Mhm.
And you can't just expect somebody to fit into a new environment.
Yeah.
So that's a great takeaway. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's completely relevant to every single foster child we have had.
Mm.
Some of them will eat anything. Some of them, one of them I've had, everything they see, they'll say, that's disgusting. And then I'll say, well, it's not disgusting. You just haven't tasted it before. You don't have to eat it, but at least accept it. And then look at it, smell it, maybe try it.
Yeah.
It should be, as for a child in care, like
Yeah.
specifically, a lot of the time I will say, what would you like for dinner tonight? And then our family will eat that.
Yeah.
Right? So And it's baby steps, because you don't want to change your whole family of, for instance, for us, a whole family of 5 for one person. But at the same time, it's a work in progress and you all work together,
Most
you
definitely.
know?
Yeah, 100%. And I think they're
Yeah.
like,
And so the carer that, the first care home, was not good because of the food things only, or were there other things that were
it was,
scary or hard or?
I think like in a sense, like I remember some things being really good, but I also just remember it being just very much like I had to pretend and I had to like act like someone else. And I feel like that was like the first moment that I started really masking. So I'm
Yeah.
neurodivergent and I found out only a couple of years ago, but I felt like my whole life I've had to mask in some way or another. And I felt like when I was in care,
Same.
and I felt like when I was in care, that was tenfold, and that was like so much more than what I was ever doing. And in the end, as time went on, I felt like I lost myself and I lost who I was as a person. So my current, and that's what I've been doing for the past couple of years, is rediscovering Ruby, rediscovering who I am as, at my core. I have my passions, I have my loves, and like I love advocacy, I love public speaking, I love like everything about the work I do. But who was Ruby outside of all that? And I felt like I lost her and I need to find her again. So that is what I am currently doing. That is my current passion and current drive. And it includes like finding new hobbies, going to the gym, like trying new things, going to new places, and just being me and being my authentic self. Because I don't fit into a box. No one fits into a box. And if someone says they do, then they don't. And that's just honest truth.
That's masking really hard.
We're all unique. We are all individuals. And I feel like that's really beautiful because that's who we are as people. And we should celebrate that, not discourage it.
I absolutely agree. So, when you were in care, let's go back to when you were 9, were you having contact with mum and your brother? Did he come with you?
Yeah, no. So we got split up. And I actually had a sister. Oh, yeah, I had a sister. My sister was born by the time we went into care. So I have 2 siblings, my younger brother and my younger sister. They're the lights of my life. They are the reason I do advocacy. They're my favorite people in the whole entire world, honestly. But yeah, so we ended up getting split up, and only when we were in different kingship care placements were we together. It was honestly really hard because it was always me getting split up from them because they were so close.
Oh, they stayed together.
Most of the time they stayed together because of the fact that they're so close in age. Like they're 2 years apart, like very close together.
Yeah.
You would like they almost were raised as twins in a sense. Like they had their own language, they had all that.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah.
In the same foster care home the whole time?
No, so they ended up they now live separately. So
Oh. And how old are you, Ruby?
I'm 24, so I just turned 24 in October. And it's honestly a really weird feeling being close to 25 because
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to make it past 18. And even just sense of like not, it was more the fact like didn't see a future past 18. It was this like magical number where it's like once you turn 18, nothing. Like, and it's just like, I don't know. And then I turned 21. And it was,
Cut off.
yeah. Well, it was in the sense like I actually moved out and lived independently from the age of 17. And so it was very much like, oh, I'm doing everything early. I was told that I was 18. And so I lived independently at 17. And then I finished high school. And then I moved out of my hometown and went to university, transferred to a different university a year later, and then turned 21. And I was like, oh, now I'm really cut off. Now, like, I'm expected to go out and do everything by myself because I didn't have Better Futures anymore, which is the support that we had in Victoria. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And actually, this is something that's like, I am so happy I found, and I feel like everyone should be a part of it. But I was so determined because I knew that I financially couldn't work and go to university at the same time while also paying rent. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I Googled scholarships for care experienced young people because I wasn't eligible for any scholarships at my university. So I looked up scholarships for care experienced young people and I was like, surely there's something, like surely. And there was. The Sisters of Charity Foundation, they're based in Sydney, had a scholarship of $30,000 for the duration of my course. And I applied. I was like, all right, surely it's too good to be true, but we're just going to go ahead and try. I submitted, I think it was around 9, 10 reference letters. I went all out.
Yeah.
In the end, I got the scholarship, and it was such an, like, I put it all towards rent, and the
So did you get a $30,000 check and then?
got $5,000 each trimester. So
Yes.
it was like, yeah, trimester 1, trimester 2, and then like the following year, and then like so
Yeah.
forth. So yeah, I put it all towards rent, and it was.
Do you have a HEX now?
I have.
Yeah.
I don't look at my HEX. It's out of sight, out of mind. I no. But it was allowed me to have my rent paid, so I didn't really have to work during my studies, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah.
But it was an accessibility for me to be able to work, to be able to study full time, but also grow my advocacy, grow my public speaking, do volunteering, and do the things that I love and enjoy university to the fullest without having to worry about things like keeping a roof over my head, which is always a struggle and always something I struggled with. But it wasn't something where I was like, oh my God, I'm going, like, where am I going to pay like rent? And like, how am I going to afford like one rent?
Absolutely brilliant. Let's just go back a second. How many foster homes did you have? How many times did you change? And were they breakdowns, or did the department have a plan?
Yeah, so most of the time it was I was either in kingship care or foster care. So that was multiple times up until the age of 16, where I actually entered residential care. So I lived in 3 residential care homes over the space of a year. It was words cannot describe that, like, what that experience was to me. I honestly think that it was one of the most hardest times in my life, especially as a teenager going into year 10 and meant to be going to school and going to mainstream school at that. I struggled a lot. It wasn't until my 3rd residential care home that I met the resi workers that I still have contact with. They are my favorite people in the whole entire world. They are just they're the second parents to me, like this second, third, fourth. Like, they are the parents that I needed in that moment, and they are the role models and my cheerleaders that I needed. And without them, I don't think I would have the confidence to go to university, let alone do the work I do. They believed in me, they saw me, and they treated me like I was a real person, not just their job. And I think that is the difference between being a okay worker and being a great worker. I understand being a resident care worker is a job, but it's our lives. And for that, you got to think about us as people and not just as your job and how you make money, because we're not. And we have feelings.
Like a customer. You're essentially, you are a customer.
Yeah.
I know you said to me it's hard to put into words, but could you please try and put it into words what it is like in residential care as a child in residential care?
Being in resident care, I think, is isolating, and it's darkness. I think, like, in the sense of, like, that's what when I was in care, what I imagined my life after care, it was blank. I didn't see after that time I was going to leave resi care. It was just nothing. And so being in care, it felt like I was trapped in this reality that wasn't my own, but was. And I felt just like I was in a sea of darkness and I couldn't see out of it. And I think that is one of the most saddest things about being in out-of-home care, but specifically being in residential care, because a lot of us say it's like a jail. And it honestly is. And that's the sad part.
Is that because there's rules, and is that because you have no autonomy? What does the jail feel like? What is the jail?
I think, in a sense of, like, we have alarms on our doors. We are
What? What?
well,
What?
yeah. So in, like, some of the resi homes I've been in, we would have alarms on. So when at night time, if we opened our doors, they would go off.
To go to the loo?
Yeah, it was to allow
Ruby has left her bedroom.
Yeah, so that staff knew, because there's, like, they couldn't be sitting at our door the whole entire time, so it was to kind of notify them. It was, and the other thing that, like, that's what the difference was between, like, it being a home and it being feeling like it was a jail. And, like, instead of we could leave and, like, we could do that, but it was very much like, like, if we left, then warrants would be put out for us.
Oh, hang on. If you left without saying where you were going.
So I actually had one time I went through my rebellious stage when I was younger, and I didn't want to be at the resi home. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable, so I would leave and I'd hang out with my friends at like 10 p.m. onwards. Usually, I'd have a curfew, and obviously, I understand the need for a curfew, and like obviously, out my safety. But I was one of those young people. Yes, I was rebelling technically, but I would always call up the resi home, being like, "Hey, I'm at this address. I'm safe. I'm gonna stay here for the night." But there was rules where, like, if that was the case, they would have to call the on-shift DHS worker, and then they would have to call the police if things, like, kinda escalated depending on what the DFFH worker said. And so a lot of the time it was, like, I was the police wanted me to come home and they'd call me, or, like, DHS would call me and be like, "You need to come home." And it was such a, like, why is that my life? And the thing is, like, realistically, I had it a lot better than some young people, and that
Was
is
that at 16?
mm,
You're
16.
16 years old.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, and the awful thing is I had it a lot better than some young people, which is awful to say because my experience was still awful, but I've heard what other care experience young people have gone through, especially in residential care, and
Mm.
I'm shocked. And so in the sense, like, we're human. We're human beings, but we're like kids. We are young people who
Yeah.
have experienced trauma, have experienced heartbreak, and we get put into a home that we are constantly experiencing trauma in.
It's cold. Can you eat when you want?
Yeah, let's go in the cover in the sense like if when one of the things I remembered is if what staff members were making, if the resi workers were making food for us, if we didn't like it, we'd have to figure out our own. So I'm pretty sure for a week, in my second residential care home, for a week, I bought Zamberos for myself because I didn't like what was being made at the home. And so I was like, yep, no, I'm just going to buy my own food. And
And where did you get the money?
I had Centrelink. So from the age of 16, I was able to get Centrelink, which was I wish I had saved more, and I wish I had have like used it a bit more wisely. But I was 16, I was in resi care, and I was just spending it on whatever I
And
could.
remember, you didn't have a future. In your
Exactly.
mind,
Yep.
there's no future here. So, how much were you getting, do you remember, on Centrelink?
I was around like $600 because I was also at
A
school.
fortnight?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
but yeah, it was like the minimum because I was still living with people, but
yeah.
I was technically like I didn't have money just giving to me. Like we had chores that we do when we get pocket money,
Mm.
but it wasn't that much. And then I had my Better Futures worker, which allowed me to like get credit and get like that support when it came to like clothes and stuff like that. But for
Mm.
the most part, I was a teenager and I spent it on food mostly. I remember buying a phone for myself.
What about that moment that you were in residential care for those 3 placements over that year period? At that time, would you have preferred to be in the care of a foster carer?
No, so I actually chose at one point to be in residential care. And the reason for that was because of the fact that I actually got offered to be in a foster care placement with my sister. And at the time, despite the fact that it was very much like a jail in resi care, I felt I had more freedom because realistically, I could just leave. Like I had that, and
I mean, you're going to have the police in your tail, but you can leave.
but I can leave.
Mm.
And I think like in the sense of like regarding that, I was in my second resi home when I got offered to be in foster care. And so I had a bit more freedom. It was a
You'd
bit
experienced a bit more
yeah,
life.
it was my reality. Like the idea of being with people that were caring and loving, I'd already kind of closed off from that in a way.
Did you ever experience that?
I like I've I experienced a lot of like love and care with the resi workers in my third placement, but
But let's go back to your foster care. Did you ever experience love and happiness in the home of a foster carer?
yeah, I would say the foster family that took me in before my 16th birthday, so when I was 15, I still have contact with them. They are amazing people, amazing foster carers. They celebrated my 16th birthday. They took me on like trips, and we went around Victoria. But it was like I felt safe there, and I felt like I could just be a kid. It was only a month that I was there, but I still felt like I could be a kid. And I actually went and did respite with them, I think about twice, um, after being in residential care.
And you couldn't have stayed there? Were they just short-term placements?
It was more of the fact that uh, going back, like they were kind of like they were in the roughly the same area of where I'm from, but it was a bit more like about 3 hour drive away from my hometown of Wangaratta. And the idea that DFH had was for me to be more like in Wangaratta so that I could still have contact with mum and my siblings and go to school and everything. So they'd already decided what school I was going to go to. I ended up getting enrolled at that school, and then this like actually this is a really funny story because I was just like shocked by it. But I left the foster family. I went into my first residential care home the day after my 16th birthday. It was like, happy birthday, Ruby, you're 16, into resi care. A bit of a mixed feelings for that. But I ended up going and getting enrolled at the high school that I went to, Galen Catholic College. And it was like great. I was making friends. I was in year 10. I was having a great time. We did Head Start. So it was around like November, December time that like I was at school. And so then I had like Christmas and everything. My first Christmas in residential care was a experience, to say the least. But school-wise, like started school, and then the first day of school, I remember making a cake. I had food tech. It was great. I loved it. Came home, DFFH were there, and they were like, you need to move to Wodonga. The reason for that was one of the young people that was in the same resi home as me became violent, essentially. And I stood my ground and I said, I don't want to live with a young person who is violent. I don't need that in my life. I don't need that. And so instead of keeping me there, they brought her back in and they were like, Ruby, you need to leave. And I was like, okay, but I'm going to school. And they were like, well, we're going to transfer you to a different school in a different town. And I go, it's my first day at this school. You wanted me to go to this school. I'm going to this school. And so what they do for the next like 8 months or like 6 months while I was living in a different town, they drove me to school each day. So I got driven from Wodonga to Wangaratta each day.
How far is that in a car?
30, 40 minutes. And I was just like, this was like that school was like my ninth school. So I was like, I'm going to school. Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot. And in the end, I dropped out. Like by the time I moved back to Wangaratta, I ended up dropping out. And I just couldn't. I was getting bullied horrifically. It was awful.
So you were bullied for being in out-of-home care?
I was bullied for being in out-of-home care, and I was also.
And they would say what?
I had one of the young people that I was at school with actually pretended to be in out-of-home care to make fun of me. And I was so desperate to have friends, I think is the best word. I wanted friends so badly, and I wanted to not be this weird person because like I wasn't living with my family. So I felt so isolated just because of my reality, and I was getting made fun of because of it. And I know that in a sense, like there was also other reasons I was getting bullied. Like it was the fact that I like was just an easy target. It was the fact that like people just found it easy to make fun of me. I actually was friends with people and they literally pretended to be friends with me just so they could make fun of me to my face. But because of the fact that I was not used to having friends, I was not used to social interaction. I actually didn't know that
You didn't know.
And so it was to the point where I have learned a lot over the years since then that I can kind of like I'm getting there when it comes to like when people are actually making fun of me. But yeah, it was such a like isolating time, and I was also failing maths. I was failing different subjects, and it was just to the point where I just felt so like I just didn't have control over my life, and I felt like.
And so this was while you're at the second resi, so we're still in darkness. Our future is still darkness right now.
Yeah.
Did you tell anybody about the bullying at school?
Oh, I don't even remember. I think like it was something I just kind of kept to myself. Like I may have told like oh yeah, like I may have told a worker, or I may have told like the friends that weren't bullying me, but I think in the sense of like it was kind of just like that's just happening. And it got to the point where there was one person, one of the people I was going to school with, that I would block them on social media trying to like stop the bullying. And they were like, well, if you block me on social media, I'll just bully you in person. And so I just felt like anywhere I went,
You
I
can't get away from it.
can't get away from it. So I dropped out. But this is when I dropped out, I actually dropped out after moving back to Wangaratta. So I had gone to school for a little bit when I was in my third resi home. But it was around, I want to say like September, October time period that I just was like, nah, and just dropped out. I was just like, no, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to finish high school. I'm like, honestly, I don't know what I was thinking of what I was going to do. Obviously, in the sense like I was still in care, so I didn't really see that next chapter. And so in the end, I was just doing nothing. I actually got a job. So like I was working and stuff, and like I was
Where were you working?
Zamberos. So I was
Yeah.
working at Zamberos, and then previously before that I was working at Macca's. So like I was doing stuff. I wasn't just like not doing anything, but I was hanging out with my friends. I was being a teenager the best I could under the circumstances. But yeah, so in the end, I had my second Christmas in resi care, got tampons and pads for Christmas. That was a nice one. Nice little touch.
Actually,
Yeah, I got pads and tampons for Christmas, and then I remember my amazing resi workers in my third resi home actually have to fight to get me to actually get birthday presents. So they were like, "It's Ruby's birthday. She needs birthday presents." So they banded together and they got me birthday
in
presents
resi care.
in resi care.
Ruby, can I give you some stats on how much it costs to have a child in care, or do you know?
Oh, I haven't looked at it recently. Yeah.
Okay, you take a guess. So a foster carer, so our family, for instance, when we have a child that's in our care, we receive $40 per day. Okay, $40 per day.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the cost per child per day is in residential care, considering it's $40 a day for a foster carer to have a child?
I don't even know. Like, I feel like it'd be around the same price, maybe even less.
I hope you're sitting down.
Tell me.
Per day, per child. Residential care is $800 a day to $1,300 a day if there's special needs. So $800 a day is what that business, because they're not for profit, those residential care, I got goosebumps. Those residential, I'm talking Queensland. I'll assume Victoria's the same, but that is an assumption. I'm talking Queensland right now.
Yeah.
So in Queensland, residential homes, majority are not for profit. They are for profit. They are businesses who make absolute killing on the residential care. So $40 for a home here.
Yeah.
$800 to $1,300 per day, per night, per child in residential care. And you're telling me they couldn't afford a birthday present?
Yeah. I think
so. Now times 800 by 7. That's a week. What's 7 eighths? Come on, I'm testing you now.
But I know it's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's a lot. So I'm going to calculate that. Hang on a minute. Just go 365. I'm just going to go 365.
Like, I thought the pads and tampons were bad.
Yeah, no. 365. We'll just go 800, okay? Because that's the minimum. It's $292,000 a year per child. That's how much that business made. And those workers, they earn really, really good money. And those homes are rented from, I'm talking Queensland again, so I'm assuming Victoria's the same. They're rented from property owners, and that's great for them because it means that they've got a guaranteed rent, right? Because it's state government. And then when the home, when the owner says no more, the state will paint the house, recarpet it, put all new blinds up because they're trashed. So
Yeah.
basically they're getting a renovation.
Yeah, and it had 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, or like 3 if you want to count the resi bathroom and bedroom. But like it was okay, honestly, it was a nice house. We had a basketball court, we had a barbecue area. Like the house that I lived in my third resi home actually had space where you could make like small apartments and transition like young people into those so that they can start rental history. And like that was something where I was just like, you have so much land, why aren't you using it to help more kids? Like,
yeah. So how many were in the house? How many kids?
So in my third resi home, I lived with 3 other.
So I'm just timing 292 by 3. So per year, 876,000.
But see, like in my third resi home, it's all boys. So I was the only girl in an all boys resi home essentially. And so that was interesting as well. In my first resi home, I lived. It was a mixture of like boys and girls, so I wasn't always the only girl in the resi home. And then in my second resi home, it was an all girls unit. Honestly, that was a nightmare. We got along great in my second resi home up until we just ended up fighting, and it was awful. It was so like I think one of the most traumatic things happened to me in that resi home, and it was honestly shocking when the resi worker basically didn't care. And I think that also really hurt a lot.
So you're going through a traumatic time fighting with one of your essentially flatmates?
Both of them.
Both? And your resi care worker turned the other way?
Yeah. Well, actually told me to come out of my room when I was in danger. That was kind of like...
Danger from them or danger from yourself?
Danger from the young people, from like the girls I was with. It was honestly... It was horrific, and I was shocked that I was being treated like that. And also in the sense of like I was a teenager, we like us girls, we bickered. That's just
standard.
It's standard, but no trauma-informed care, none of like being support.
Counselling? Did you have a counsellor?
No.
For $800, you didn't have a counsellor? Should have had one every day for $800.
No.
You should have had your nails filed every day. Should have had your hair blown.
You'd like now it's just like, damn, like I could have been living in luxury. No.
Yep.
That was not the case at all.
Gold jewellery dripping off you.
This podcast is supported by our friends at ActiveFlex, the Australian pain-relieving gel designed for long-lasting relief for painful muscles and joints. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If your symptoms persist, please seek advice from a healthcare professional. You can shop online at alphasport.com.au and use my special code, BEL10, BEL10. And that's just a little special code for you as a listener of the podcast, using the discount code at alphasport.com.au.
But it wasn't until my third resi home that I think in terms of like being in my hometown and being like able to walk to friends' houses or like be with resi workers that actually cared about me, or at least like in the sense of like I knew that I had that support from them. But yeah, like resi care I think was what I needed in a really twisted way, but what I never should have experienced. I think while I wish, like in the sense like I don't like in the sense like there are days where I wish I never experienced residential care or at-home care at all, and I think that's the general thing about for everyone who has a care experience. Like most of the time, it's I wish I never had that. Like, but I wouldn't change it, and the reason why is this. I wouldn't be who I am today.
And your brother and sister, you're trying to change the future, and you had to walk it.
I bear it. So my brother and sister don't have to, and so other care experienced young people don't have to.
Yeah.
And
we need to be loud, Ruby. We're not loud enough. We are not loud enough. Can you tell me now about
Christmas Day.
Recently?
You said to me your first Christmas in Resi was the worst.
I think my first Resi experience of Christmas it was just like one of those things where I was getting stuff donated, like in the sense of like we have those wishing trees, we have like the things at Kmart and like the donations that are given to DFH, which is great that people do that, and I think that like that is honestly great that people would take the time to go and do that. But it was never stuff that I wanted. It was just hard. And it got to the point where, like, in a sense, like, I'm pretty sure my first Resi Christmas, like, I actually spent it with family members, but it was just like such an isolating time. I honestly, like, in a sense, like, I think by the time I entered Resi Care, Christmas to me just wasn't a happy time. It was just a reminder of what I didn't have. Because go back to school and it'd be like, oh my God, what did you get for Christmas? What did your family do? Did you go on a holiday? No.
I got a colouring book and some stickers.
I got some underwear. I got like some pads and tampons. It got to the point where like the magic of what Christmas should be, and I know that there is in Christmas, just didn't exist in my world. And the reality of it was more just pain and isolation, and it made me feel more isolated from my peers.
What year was that?
That was 2017. Yeah.
Can I tell you that every Christmas since I've had children, it doesn't sit right with me because I give my children such a beautiful day and bring the joy, bring the happiness. But I always have this sense of you and all of the kids like you. And it's really something that I don't know. That was one of the reasons we became a foster care. I just remember Christmas morning and the kids are unwrapping their gifts and it's such a happy time. And I just started crying because I'm like, there are kids in the suburb next door who are waking up to nothing today.
Yeah, no, I think it got to the point where people kind of referred to me as the Grinch. Which honestly, realistically, I kind of love the Grinch. He's so funny.
I mean, you can take that for sure. You earned that one.
In a sense of like, people just kind of, when they saw me and like thought of Christmas, it was like such a like, oh, like I will not have a tree. I will not wrap. I get really into it. Like I love gift giving, so I feel like gift giving is one of my love languages. So I make gifts to my friends. I will buy awesome gifts that like just like sew them.
But that shows who you are. That's you. That's your heart sharing the joy.
Yeah, like for this year, I spent it alone. So I didn't have anyone around me.
By choice?
Yes and no. I think in the sense of like, I was happy to spend it alone, but there was no real option of me to spend it with anyone. So it was kind of just like, I'm doing what I can, but it wasn't like, I didn't feel the pain or the isolation. Like in the sense of like, when I saw someone post on their Instagram or TikTok about Christmas Day, I didn't feel the deep sadness that I've always felt. And I don't know if it's because I've grown as a person or because I have kind of taken control of my life in my way, but it was different. I bought myself a roast. I bought myself prawns, and I love prawns, and they were my one Christmas time of year thing. I always eat prawns on Christmas.
Did you buy yourself a gift?
I waited until Boxing Day, so I didn't get any presents on Christmas Day, but I waited until Boxing Day. I bought new sneakers, which I am obsessed with. So I bought stuff that I wanted and that I liked. And I think that's what made the difference between me having a awful Christmas this year or last year.
Well, you're not a Grinch. You had roast and prawns.
I had roast and prawns. I was dancing in the kitchen. I bought a radio speaker. But I had my speaker playing with music that I loved, and I was dancing around the kitchen, doing what I can with my cat Paris.
Can we look at her?
No, she will want to jump on the laptop, so I'm going to keep you away from this one. But She is my best friend. I love her so much. I got her after leaving residential care. So my experience leaving residential care was kind of basically not getting the choice. It was basically I wasn't living in a safe environment. I was the most mature, most ready to leave. And so I got transitioned into it was basically a accommodation with another young person with care experience to get a rental history. So the idea overall, pretty good. The way that it was executed, no. It was awful. Lasted not even a week, became homeless because there was no adults there. There was just me and this young person. There was no one to facilitate us meeting. There was no one to facilitate any of it. It was just two young people with the care experience who have trauma, obviously, just to go live in this
And what
house.
happened?
I became homeless because of the young person becoming violent. And
And there was nobody to call?
I actually called my mum and she was the one that came pick me up. So it was an experience that I'm so shocked over. But he got to stay in the place and I became homeless and I lived in a hotel for about a month. But I had just gotten this gorgeous cat named Paris when she was a kitten and I love her so much, but I got her beforehand. And so it was me and Paris and we were homeless. And so I was in the hotel, Paris was with my mum, and I just enrolled to go back to school after dropping out. So this was a big, huge moment in my life and in my story. And I enrolled to go to TAFE.
That's completing year 11 and 12?
Yeah, so
Did child safety never push you to finish year 11 and 12?
No, so it was more the fact that I kind of just dropped out and it was me who decided to go back. I had the support from my Better Futures worker and those around me, but it was me who was I'm going to go back. So I enrolled to go back to school. I did alternative education at TAFE and did VCAL. And I was so excited. I just started when I was living in the place I was meant to get a rental history. I don't even know what to call it. It was,
independent living.
Yeah. But I ended up enrolling to go back to school, and I started the week that I ended up becoming homeless. And so it was such a hard time, but I was so passionate about going back to school. And TAFE was awesome. It was such an inclusive space. And honestly, it was where a lot of people that did struggle with mainstream school went. And I made some amazing friends there, but I was homeless and I was trying to find a place, and I was so determined to find my own house. And so
did you tell anybody or were you masking hard again?
My teachers knew and my friends knew, and I had that support. It was kind of just in the sense everyone was well, where's Ruby? And I was well, I'm looking for a place to live. And so in the end, my DHS worker came into my hotel room with another worker and said if I didn't find a place within a week, I would be sent interstate into another residential care home because I'd already filled up my room, the room that I had at my third resi home. And my comeback, my response was, I just enrolled to go back to school. I'm going to go TAFE. And she turns around and says, you dropped out of mainstream school, so your education no longer matters. And hearing those words, it was, I think...
What did she mean?
I dropped out of mainstream school, so my education was a priority, I guess.
To her?
I think in general, I think it was just this isn't a priority. It doesn't matter.
You're 17.
Yeah, I'm 17.
You're still in the care of the state.
It was such a but in that moment, I had two DHS workers in my hotel room telling me this, and I told them to leave. And they left. I remember just bawling my eyes out on the floor of my hotel room. It was...
They basically just told you were even more unworthy than you thought you were.
Yeah.
You were trying to find a light in that blackness that you'd had, and they're like,
Yep.
no.
And so I uh I was at rock bottom, but and I'm so thankful for my VCal teacher and one of the workers at GoTAFE, because they banded together. They went to the local real estate agent in Wangaratta and said, we have a bright young person who is homeless, and within a week I got a home. And I was so happy. That same DHS worker had to take me to look at the place. And I was like,
the one who said,
Yeah.
how did that go?
I just remember.
Did she apologize?
Oh, no. But full circle kind of moment, I actually went to Wangaratta recently and spoke to DFFH at their all staff meeting, and she was in the room, and I said, this was wrong.
Did you call her out in front of her peers?
Basically, not by name. I'm very respectful of the fact that I will never name names, but yeah. And I say it at every.
Did she shrink? Did she just shrink?
Yeah, I looked over and I was like, yeah. And this is the first time I saw her in since I'm since I moved into independent living.
But this is where it shows that this is just a job to these people. This is just my 9 to 5, guys.
But the thing is, in the end, with that opportunity to speak in Wangaratta, I actually cried, not because of her. I think it's really important to state it was not because of her. It was because of my old resi workers, who were, 2 of them were also, they now work for DHS, so they were in the room. And I cried because one of them looked after Paris when I couldn't, when I was at uni. So yes, I went to uni and I graduated, and I have a bachelor degree in journalism, communications, major in journalism, which is just what? And graduating and getting this graduation bear from one of my resi workers. But it was just such I did that, and I could go to Wangaratta and say, I graduated, my education does matter, I matter, everyone matters. And it was just such a thing. But I love them so much. The fact that I actually had to rehome Paris, and I rehomed it to one of my resi workers, but I couldn't look after her. I was so determined to graduate from university. It was my one goal. I didn't care about almost anything else in the world. It was graduating university. And so I did that. But then even before that, I was moving off campus and living independently here in Melbourne. And I was I can't live by myself without Paris, because I'd lived with her all through finishing high school, all through COVID, all through all of that. I had Paris, had my cat, my best friend, my everything. And I was I can't live here in Melbourne by myself. I can't do it. I can't live with other people, because I still had that that fear of living with other people. But I can't do it without her. And so I asked her, can I have Paris back? And
Can I have my cat back?
And I felt so bad. I was this is so wrong. I've rehomed her.
Yeah.
But I got her back, and we have been living together since 2022 here in Melbourne. She's always wanting to be there. She will sleep on me. She will be there for me. If I'm upset, she's there. If I'm angry, she's there. If I'm happy, she's there. She's there for all my highs and lows. And I could not imagine my life without her. And to think that if I had have not gotten her, because actually, fun fact, when I got her, I was told I wasn't allowed pets where I was living, which was, and so I was I broke the rules to have her. To think
we all did that.
If I didn't break those rules to have her, because DHS told me I couldn't have her. If I didn't break the rules, I don't know what my life would look like. But it's just in a sense of how far I've come since being in resi care. And the thing is, I've obviously been in foster care and kingship care, but resi care, I think it shaped me to be the person I am today. I'm thankful for it, but I'm also really sad for it, because I wouldn't say I'm hard, and I wouldn't say I am I have the moments where I'm very much this is my reality, it kind of sucks, that's that. But I'm thriving in my own way, and we're all different. We're all we all have.
You're building
Yeah.
You're building your life. That's what you're doing. And it's not even rebuilding, it's building your life. Do
Covering
you
my-
think that residential care has a place in our society?
Oh, I think it should be non-existent. I don't think
Absolutely agree with you.
that it is essentially ruining young people's lives. And this is like, obviously, there are many.
Have you seen the suicide rates, the mental health rates? Have you seen the damage to our own body rates, like
my mental health was shocking
self-harm?
in resi care. I think it was one of those things where I was just so empty, and like obviously in the sense like I had the chance to be in foster care, but realistically, if I had have taken up that opportunity to be in foster care, my brother would still be in resi care. For me saying no, he was able to be put in foster care with my sister. I will take that any day, and I will experience resi care 100 times over if it meant that they didn't have to, because they do not deserve that. Young people do not deserve to be treated like a job. They need nurture. They need love. They need care. And obviously, in the sense, I think now that I'm an advocate and now that I do a lot of like work with different organizations, I can see that people are trying. I get that, and I totally understand.
Who's trying? Who?
Well, I work with a lot of different organizations, so like the Create Foundation, the Centre for Excellence in Child and Family Welfare, DFFH. I have done work with them, and I can definitely say that they are trying, but we need to almost just like build it from the ground up. We need to scrap everything, rebuild it.
That's exactly what Dakota said. Start again.
Yeah.
And I said, what, like Control Alt Delete? And she's like, yes. So in Queensland right now, we have a commission. It's an inquiry into child safety. We had this 10 years ago, right? With a different government, we had this. And what came out of it then was the goal to reduce residential care, reduce it dramatically. They could see that it was detrimental, right? All statistics could see that. They also, out of it was born the Queensland Kinship and Foster Care Association, QFKC. They're an entity that are for the foster carer and the child. So that's what came out of it. This new inquiry, I've put 2 submissions in. One is to change how foster care works, as in we need foster carers, we do not need residential care. For the amount that is being put on taxpayers to pay for residential care, and then what's coming out of it with the statistics that are coming out of it, and like you say, a black hole future.
Yeah.
Right? You should have been living in a winter wonderland of Disneyland for those prices.
Yeah.
That's what you should fact.
It's also if we also think about the the percentage of care experienced young people that actually go on to higher education. I think that's also a really important
Is
thing.
that low? I haven't looked at that.
It's 1 to 6% of care experienced young people that have a care experience go to higher education, compared to 40% of young people who don't have that experience. And it's just like, what? Like, we, and the thing
So,
is,
like you say before, it's not a priority.
no, exactly. And like, it's not a priority for a lot of people. And like, but also, I think one reason why I'm also so passionate about being a public figure for speaking out about my experience is because of the fact that I never had a role model who had the similar experience to me. I was always seeing people that had the like white picket fence and like had like the great family like life, and like obviously I know that like every family has some struggles, and I get that. But
absolutely,
they have the care experience, and they didn't have the breakdown of home and like the breakdowns and everything. And so I never saw someone who was like me, and I felt even more isolated. So I want to be the big sister to care experienced young people, to those in need, who just need someone who is a role model. And the thing is, it's proof.
Ruby, do it loudly.
Yeah. Oh no, I do. And like the thing is, I am so proud of this young person. I had a care experienced young person actually call me, just to tell me that she finished year 11. Having that, and like also celebrating, be like, yes, you
go
did.
Girl.
Yeah. And in a sense, like it's being able to cheer on those that have a care experience, but also just are going through hard times. Like, we never know what someone is experiencing behind closed doors. So
exactly,
we shouldn't be putting pressure on them to be like this amazing person. Like, the thing is, I still struggle.
You are all amazing. To me,
Yeah.
To me, any child who has successfully negotiated an existence beyond being in the state care is phenomenal to me. So I myself was not in care, but I experienced a lot of what you have said and the other kids that I've interviewed. I see you guys because I've been there, but not in the care of the state.
Yeah.
So I can really feel what you felt. It was hard. And also going back to what I said before with my submissions, if there's no place for residential care, would you say there's a place for more foster carers?
I think it's in the sense like we need more foster carers. It's like I can only imagine what it's like to open up your home to a young person that isn't your child. And I take my hat off.
But it's not just that, it's the trauma.
Oh, 100%. Like I think like in the sense of like in a great world there would be trauma informed I know that there is, like we have more trauma informed practices, but I feel like it needs to be spoken about more. Like I think like I have so many friends and I have so many people that I know that didn't know what out of home care was. It's such a big thing that people know about, but it's such a sheltered thing that people know
we
about.
don't talk about. So I am the only person that I know, and I know a lot of people, and I do not know anybody else who is a foster carer. I don't.
I would love to be a foster carer one day. That is something I am wanting to and I would love to be a foster carer, but I have already decided that it will be to teenagers. And
yes, teenagers are the best. I love teenagers.
But the reason for, and I think like in the sense like the reason for being a foster care for teenagers is so that I can prevent them from going into resi care.
Yes. They're on the precipice of becoming who they are. And that's a really key age. And one of the things that I try and say to all of my foster kids, and the one I've got now, I haven't said it to her, but I will. I am so glad that you were born.
Yep.
I am so glad that you are on this earth. How lucky are we that you are here? Because they don't feel it. They don't know it. They weren't, that was not ingrained in most of them. And it's freaking true. I don't want to live in a world where these kids don't exist.
100%. Yep.
So the people that say, oh, those people shouldn't have kids, I call bullshit because these kids are perfect.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. And I think like in a sense like I think that we're all unique. And I think like, but also sometimes like one of the most powerful things I can say, it's your future and it's bright. No one has the control over what your future is going to look like except you. And those that are trying to control your life do not matter.
No. And then what about, can I get you to speak to the kids in Resi right now? Can I get you to say something to them? Because they're in that hole that you were in. They're in that space. A lot of people that listen to my podcast, particularly you kids that have aged out, they're in it.
Yep.
Do you have something to say to them?
Don't give up. You are so amazing and your future is yours and it is bright. And no one can control what you do with your future except you. But also, don't be afraid to be yourself. Be your unapologetic self because you are amazing. And I'm so proud of you.
And what about speak up?
Oh,
to them if they see something going on in the house or they're not being treated right or they are disrespected, speak up.
Yeah, speak up. But I also think like in the sense of like thrive in your own way, but also thrive, don't just survive. Because we are in survival mode so much.
Yeah, you are.
I feel like even leaving care and transitioning from care, it's such a like survival mode and it's like, cool, I just need to be able to get into my own place and like be able to pay the bills and all that. But thrive, do what you love, do what makes you happy, do what makes you you, because resi care, out of home care, it can make it so that you lose a bit of yourself. You lose your childhood in a really big way.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You guys just grew up like that.
And I think like that's one of the things where like I love volunteering on camps. I love doing like work with children, young people, because I also can embrace my inner child. I can be a goofy person. And the thing is, I am so silly. If there was a chance to dress up, I will be there. I will be wearing an alien mask. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing something. I'm currently in the process of making friendship bracelets for the campus that I'll be working with.
And which country will this be in, Ruby?
I'm going to the US, which I am so excited for. But more specifically, I am going to a camp in New York. Dreams are coming true this year. And I think that is also another message. Dream big, dream loud, and dream proud, because I never thought I was going to be able to go to my dream city, New York.
Guess who's going to NYC?
And I never thought it was going to be possible. My Better Futures worker wanted to buy me a birthday gift for my 21st birthday, because it was once you turn 21, your Better Futures funding is no more. And I really appreciated that she wanted to buy me a gift, but I was struggling for money, and all I wanted was a Coles gift card. But she was like, no, your case is closed. I want to buy you a birthday gift. And I'm like, just buy me a Coles gift card. That's all I want. She's like, no, I'm going to get you something else. And so I ended up meeting her for the first time after my 21st birthday. And she gives me this USA travel guide. And all I'm thinking is, I'm 21.
What is this?
Don't have a passport. I have this dream, like, yes, New York, dream. Never gonna happen. Not happening. What are you on about? 4 years later, I'm now 24 and I'm going to New York. I got a passport last year for my 24th birthday. But getting this was so difficult. And why is it so difficult to get this as a care experience young person?
Why? Why is it?
So the process of me getting this, I needed my mum's birth certificate.
Right.
I needed to prove that I'm an Australian citizen, which yeah, okay.
Why couldn't you just use your own birth certificate?
Didn't count. I had to supply it, but I couldn't just supply that. I needed one of my parents.
But I don't need my parents' birth certificate.
I think it's because it's my first time getting a passport. I did. Or I had to pay an extra $500 to get an Australian citizenship certificate. I was not paying $1,000 for
I
a
am
passport.
so confused.
This is a great thing. I love this. Really happy with this. This is not worth $1,000.
No. Do you know we're the most expensive country in the world for passports?
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Yeah, I do. And I'm so grateful I have the key to the world now. I can go anywhere. But it was just such a process because of the fact that I didn't have contact with my mum for 3 years until I had to call her to get this.
Yeah.
It was really hard, and we are slowly building our relationship back up, but it's hard. We have experienced so much, so having that relationship, and having her back in my life is honestly really strange, and it's something I'm still trying to navigate, but I wanted this so badly. I wanted to do something I've never done before. I wanted to learn and grow and experience the world that I haven't been able to experience. And I wasn't going to let us not having contact stop that opportunity that I had for myself. And so it was hard, but I also realized that what about all the other care experience young people who just do not have contact with their family, who doesn't have that option? They can't get this, or they don't have the option, in the sense it might be state to state. It could be different.
Speak up about that, because that's a real concern to me. Speak up about that.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's in the sense
you could write to your Minister for Child Safety in Victoria and share that story in itself, right?
Because it's just one of those things where I was very shocked, and I've told a couple of people since, and yes, I kept this very much on the down low. I only just announced last month that I got it. I kept the fact that I was going to be going to a summer camp a secret. But the reason for that is really sad because I was afraid that I was going to get judged from people in my life. Because
About what? What kind of judgment?
the fact that I was going to do a summer camp in the US, like the fact that like I wanted to do another camp. So I've been volunteering for the past couple of years on a program that I love with all my heart. But so, okay, one thing about me, and I think this is a positive, it can be a negative, I get that, but a positive about me is I'm passionate about, if I love something, I'm passionate about it. And I was passionate about supporting young people in being able to learn new skills and being able to be there for them and support them. And I put my all into it for the past 4 years, throughout university, throughout like even graduating. I've done this program and I've volunteered. I've volunteered around like 2,000 plus hours into this program for the past 4 years. But I loved it with my hyperfixation. And the thing is, like, I am someone who speaks about my lived experience on the daily. I am someone who is very public about my life. I love the fact that my story and my lived experience has helped people, has made a difference, and it has. And I do acknowledge.
Thank God for you. Thank God for the kids that speak out.
And the thing is, I've been getting a lot of warning about this over the past, like as I've grown as a public speaker and as an advocate, to be careful because you can burn out and it can be a lot on the soul because you're bearing your soul every time you open your mouth. But the thing is, and I think I only learned this recently when I was no longer able to volunteer on this program. I realized that volunteering and that program allowed me to not burn out and not not hate and resent public speaking and bearing my soul every single day. It was my separation. I could still do what I love. I could still be there for young people. I could still be their support, but I didn't have to tell them about my lived experience. I didn't have to bare my soul to them in a way that is me opening up my soul again and again. It was the separation. It was it's like a scale. I had my volunteering, I had my advocacy, and having both of them, it made it so that life was a bit easier because I put my all into the program and I burnt out. Like, it's a volunteer role. People drop out. I totally get that. And it was a lot last year, I will say that. But I did more than what I was able to. I decided that using my degree to amplify the voices of others and in my public speaking was what I wanted to do. Because the thing is, I've been the subject of a lot of articles and I've been on radio a lot. And I feel like in the sense of like, I do have the experience with both. But I also have a niche of what I want to report on, what I want to write about. And being a journalist, you have to work your way from the ground up. And you have to start from the bottom. And I don't know if it's because I'm determined, impatient, whatever you want to call it, but I have a niche and I have a story topic that I want to report on, and I won't always have that option. So I'm going to use my degree in a way that is going to amplify the voices of children and young people across Australia in my own way.
Love to see you as the Minister for Child Safety.
I kind of I think I'm very much, I want to be the one to say, do better change and make a difference. I think
policymakers.
Yes, and I want to be on the other side of it because I want to be able to speak out and be like, hey, this needs to change. This isn't right. And I also want to work directly with children and young people. And I think that the thing is I have a rough idea of what my future is going to look like, but I'm also excited that I haven't planned it to a T because
New York City. Right after that, because you might change when you're over there. You might grow and change.
Yeah, but I think in the sense of I lost I lost a part of myself studying journalism, and not in journalism saved me. It gave me the passion, it gave me the drive to want to go to university, to want to do something, and to have that goal. And I think as someone who has had experience, had trouble learning, has had a care experience, has experienced homelessness, has had all that, I needed that. I need that drive and that passion. but it also consumed my life. And I can 100% acknowledge that all that mattered was advocacy and journalism and anything that fit in with those two things. And I lost a bit of myself. I lost a part of myself that I am determined to get back, which is why I want to give myself the space to grow and to learn, but also just to experience life, to travel, to do the things. Like I have a 2026 vision board that I've made for myself, and I want to achieve that. I want to one of the quotes on my vision board is progress, not perfection. And I think that's so important, but also reminder, you've got this. And like my favorite one, my goals and dreams become my reality. So I have goals, I have dreams, but
it's all about manifestation, baby.
But I think it's one of those things where I feel like, and the thing is, like, I love the support that I've gotten over the years, and I'm so thankful for everyone that has cheered me on and been my cheerleaders through everything that I've experienced, and also all my achievements and my highs and my lows. But I feel like there's, to a degree, where people have such like high expectations of certain people and of me, in this case, that I for a long time was doing stuff just to please others. And the thing is, I love my advocacy, and I'm doing it for like not for me. I'm obviously doing it for other people and making sure that like children and young people have a better experience than I did, and also like have that romp. But I'm also doing it for me because like I didn't have a voice when I was in care. I didn't have that chance. I didn't have that option. I felt like my voice didn't matter. It wasn't until people from the Commission for Children and Young People came to my resi home, my third resi home that is, and was like, we're doing an inquiry about like children and young people's experience in out-of-home care. You get $50, like $50 gift card, and you can tell us what you like have experienced. I'm like, so I get paid to tell you how bad this experience has been. Sign me up. Let's go.
Did you do it?
Oh, 100% I did it. And
were you honest?
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
I still the inquiry book, like the realizing that my story could create a difference. And so that's like one of my I love it with all my heart. But it was one of those things where it became such a big part of my life. Like I've traveled interstate to talk at conferences. I like talk on radio. I think then people have this thought process or like expectation that I must only be doing that. I'm so excited to be doing a summer camp in the US. I think that I love the camp space. I feel so at home being in a camp environment, and to be able to do a summer camp and almost kind of grow and learn and kind of also just like rediscover what I want my future to look like. Yeah. I graduated from university last year. I gave the student response, which was honestly one of the most like amazing things I've ever done. I have achieved such amazing things last year. I also think this is a chance because like I know that my story doesn't define who I am. I know that my experiences do not define who I am, and where I came from does not define who I am. I know that wholeheartedly. I said it in my graduation speech. It was like that is the fact, and that I think it's the fact that we all need to acknowledge. But I do feel like in some people's eyes, have been defined by I am just an advocate for out-of-home care, and I have experienced this, and this is all I do. That's not the case. And so I hit a rough patch. Mentally, I struggled a lot, and it was really hard. And I didn't leave my house. I hit a slump. I hit a wall, and it felt like being in care again and having my life dictated for me. I think it was just the reality of people deciding things for me without.
Yeah, it was a trauma trigger.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that is what made me just go, no. And the thing is, like, I could wallow, I could be down in the dumps, or I could do something to better my life and to do something I love. And so I was always going, I'm never going to do a summer camp. And I was like, nope, you know what? I'm going to do a summer camp. And I'm going to
do a summer camp. Oh my God.
So I applied. I kept it on the down low because it was my thing. It was what I wanted to do.
Private.
Yeah. And I'm never usually a private person. People go, you can't keep secrets at all, Ruby. New achievement unlocked because I didn't know that. And it was just something that I was so determined to do. So I got my passport. I applied. I got hired with the first camp that I sat down with, which was such a pinch me moment. I was like, wait, is this real? Is this really happening? And also I get to travel for 30 days after this camp is finished.
Oh, that's cool.
So I get to travel to places I've always wanted to go in the US and just have such an amazing experience with people I've met at the summer camp. And these are going to be lifelong friends that I've made. And I'm so excited because I am going to be vlogging and documenting.
Yes.
And by me sharing my story, it'll give them the confidence to try. I want to show that just because we have a care experience, just because our life isn't like other people's, doesn't mean we are less than, and doesn't mean that we aren't just as amazing as everyone else.
Agreed. Can I ask you one final question?
100%.
Do you see your future in colour now?
Oh, my future is so bright, and I'm obviously there are bits and pieces where I'm I'm not quite sure what's going to happen here and here, but I'm so excited to find out. And
these are the colours I wanted to see for you. You're amazing, Ruby. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I want you to remain outspoken. And anyone now listening to Ruby's story, we both see you. She sees you. I see you. In the world of darkness, there will be light.
100%. Yes.
Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Once Upon a Real Life with Belle. Don't forget to visit alphasport.com.au with your special discount code BELLE10 for 10% off Activeflex pain relieving gel. My name's Belle. See you on the next episode.